Hi. Hi, Nazim.
Hi,
Apologies
Nazim.
for being
Hi,
late.
Nazim.
Should leave the office earlier, so yeah. Everybody okay?
Yes, we are fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
Other
thank
than that,
you.
the cough keeps coming back, but we'll manage.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
And we hope you are good too.
I'm okay. Ish.
It's,
Yeah. Okay, shall we just get into the meeting? Anna Maria, I'm assuming you're just going to project. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So just officially welcome everybody. I'm assuming from her message earlier, we have an apology from Linda. Charlie, you indicated that you're leaving at 3:30.
Yes, I might rejoin the meeting if it's still on. Yeah.
I noticed that. Okay, sure. Okay. Minutes of the previous meeting. Oh, and we have an apology from Kagiso as well.
I'm sorry, yes, and level.
And
they're both
level.
load shedding, yeah.
Oh, shame. Yeah, shame. I don't know about people in ESCOM areas with stage 6, at least in the city, we've been told we'll remain on stage 4. But none of it matters to me because I'm still going off at 8 o'clock tonight.
Equally bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a dark, cold night.
Yeah. Okay. Minutes. Any corrections to page 1? Page 2. Page 3. Well, there wasn't much on page 3 in terms of the minutes.
Yeah, it's just that.
Okay. If there are no corrections, can I have someone move to adopt the minutes?
I can
Yes,
adopt.
yeah, I also am happy to approve.
Thank you. And seconder?
So I'll do the other one. If Naomi is
Anybody?
adopting, then I
Naomi?
can second.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, matters arising out of minutes.
No.
If we can just take it from page 1. Okay, so in terms of the programming committee and writing to everybody, my apologies, I haven't managed to do so yet, but I will do so after this meeting. So that
Okay,
we can get that.
Nazim, you will be sending out the invites to the program committee. Okay.
That's correct. And I'll just copy you in Naomi.
Okay.
But that I'll do after today. page 2, please just jump in wherever if there's anything else that you want to raise. In terms of page 2, we'll speak about speakers a little bit later. There is an issue around conference proceedings, Anna-Marie and Naomi, that I noted that I'm assuming we'll speak about a little bit later.
Yeah.
Then marketing websites. There's not much in terms of matters arising. In terms of sponsorship and exhibition, I don't think there is anything else that is there in terms of matters arising. These are all things that is on the agenda in any case, and we'll talk about it as the meeting progresses. Okay. So, starting at the top of the agenda, call for papers. The link is now open, right? Anna-Marie, Naomi?
Anna-Marie, can you tell me if it is open? Because I actually had an email from somebody wanting to know, they want to submit an abstract and they wanted some info. So I'm not sure. I didn't go and check myself. Perhaps Anna-Marie can tell me.
I also am not 100% sure. I have asked Charlene yesterday if she knows if the keywords were updated, and she wasn't sure. She said she would find out. So I think maybe I'll just drop her a WhatsApp and ask her if the portal is open.
From my side, Janine at Scatterlings did confirm with me that the updated keywords were added. She confirmed over the weekend. So it should all be set basically for the link to be open. Then of course, I have a question around the reviewing of the papers, or for the program committee to see the submissions. How far are they with that? Should I communicate directly with Charlene and Janine to find out where they are at with this?
I think
so, yeah.
Yeah, I think yes, Naomi. I think if you and the programming committee are going to be handling all of that, then you can communicate directly with them. You can just copy us in. We need it, so that all of those little niggly details can be ironed out before we run into real problems when people start sending us queries about wanting to upload an abstract, etc.
Correct. And I've noticed last year that I think if as the people submit papers, it will be good for the program committee to already be able to look at it and not wait until we have all of them, because then it becomes time consuming. And as we now know, with possibly the proceedings, we are going to be running into very strict timelines here.
Okay. So Naomi, you will then just confirm with them about or Anna-Marie, you're going to send that email about whether it's open. And then Naomi, you will just liaise directly with them about the other issues, and then just copy us into it.
Yeah, sure, will do. Okay.
Okay. If I can just jump to something else under program, which is the proceedings, seeing that you've now brought it up, Naomi. So in a communication that Anna-Marie and Naomi had yesterday around proceedings, out of the agenda, sorry, not the agenda, out of the constitution of SCECSAL, and correct me if I'm saying it wrong, the expectation is that the proceedings are available by the time the conference starts. Is that what I understood correctly?
Correct, yes. That is what the Constitution says. And I do recall that in the years that I attended SCECSAL, that was the case. And we actually received the book with the conference proceedings at registration. Whether this was maintained, in the subsequent years, I don't know, but that is certainly what the Constitution says. That it should, the paper should be in, and the proceedings should be available at the start of the conference.
Okay.
So that is something that we have to discuss.
Yeah. So just from a logistical point of view, Naomi, is this doable?
Look, my concern is whether there's enough time to expect people to actually prepare a full paper. I saw, perhaps if you can scroll down on the agenda where you've got the timelines, and I think probably the timelines was that provided by Scatterlings. There is actually a date there where it says all papers should be submitted by somewhere in September.
That's correct. 28th of September.
Correct. But now, so on 12 August is the last day for authors to be notified. So they will only know on the 12th of August.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, I think it's not impossible, but, is it a reasonable time frame for the authors to actually have it fully written by the 28th of September?
Yeah. Anna-Marie, can I ask you, it wasn't now in person, and it was online, and maybe here's the gray area, so to speak. This is a hybrid conference. So with the previous SCECSAL conference, Anna-Marie, my recollection was that it wasn't available at the start of SCECSAL, right? Even in electronic form.
That is correct. So if I remember correctly from the 2014 one, there were no proceedings. So either there were proceedings afterwards, but there definitely were no proceedings at the start of the conference. And then the only other one, Namibia last year, last year. I think we got the proceedings fairly quickly after the conference, probably a month or so. That's probably where I got confused, Naomi, but definitely not at the start of the conference.
Because I clearly cannot recall seeing it beforehand. I saw it after the fact, and it was a time after the conference ended.
But as I recall, I mean, look, and this was now a number of years ago when I attended. We certainly did registration, but I had a feeling that it might not have continued. So my recommendation would be that we rather look at perhaps like this, the month that Anna-Marie was speaking about. Perhaps let's really look at dates and so on, and perhaps look at a month after conference, make that kind of commitment, and then communicate with all authors from the beginning when we accept their paper that this is the requirement.
Yeah. Shall we just run it by John and Justin as well, Anna-Marie?
I think, let's just get their take on it if a month after is okay with them.
Okay. All right. I will write to the two of them just to ask what the proceedings are in terms of this, and whether it would be acceptable for us to do it this way, and then I'll report back to everybody around this particular matter.
That will be great. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I need to see your other agenda. Oh, there we go. Anna-Marie, I don't know if you want to, I don't know if there's anything around the call for papers that we still need to talk about. It has gone out. Anna-Marie, just something from my side that I wanted to ask you. I know there's been a lot of things, but in terms of the newsletter that you were going to send out?
So I was actually working on it this morning.
Mhm.
So I was just waiting to find out if the link is open or not. So
Okay.
there's not lots of information, but it sounds like the link is working. So I'll just insert that and then the next
Okay.
newsletter will go out.
All right.
And also a dedicated email just reminding people.
Yeah, just another thing. We are also asking again for, I think, the same sort of poster format that we had last year. The fact that there is an in-person conference, does this mean we are going to, I think we need to decide, are we going to only have like this kind of virtual poster presentation with a slide or two, or are we going to also have, physical posters? My feeling would be to go with only the virtual, but I don't know what, if this has been discussed at all by the executive.
No, it's a good point that you bring up, Naomi. And I was going to ask Anna-Marie, that draft program that you sent, can you maybe project that, and can we just talk around what you've put on there? And I think this question Naomi's asking would then relate to something like that.
Absolutely.
Anna-Marie, sorry, did you also distribute this?
Oh, shame,
no,
Naomi, did you not see this one?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
No, Anna-Marie, I'm not getting all of your emails. I don't know why. It seems as if you send emails, it's not coming, it's somewhere going astray.
we
But
need to sort that out.
that, I will
It
check.
looks like this program is on Google Drive or something.
Yes, it is. I think I've just downloaded into Word when I've sent it to Naomi and Nazim.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I did not receive it, so I didn't look at it.
Okay.
But it is important for us to obviously look at this, and the whole issue of whether there will be a physical poster session or not, because from the start, the onset, we need to be clear so that people know what they are submitting for. What they have to prepare. Would it only be the virtual poster, or is there going to be an option for both? So on that, I mean, did you include a virtual sort of poster session or not?
Yes. Sorry,
Lightning
Nazim.
talks.
Yeah. So my thinking was that if we don't call it a poster, then people would not pitch up with a paper poster. Because then again, we exclude the virtual attendee. So if we only call a lightning talk and we stick with last year's rules that it need to be pre-recorded, whether they're there or not, and it's the same rules. It's a slide, no more than 5 minutes, whatever, then we can perhaps slot it in. And currently, this is definitely not cast in stone. I have it's I think just half an hour session every day. I have added it on the program for half an hour every day. So there's quite a lot of opportunities that if we get enough of those, then we can just have it as lightning talks, 5 minutes, one slide, instead of calling it a poster.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like that. I think it was was a really great idea, and it worked very well last year. But we obviously advertised it very late, so we didn't get that many submissions. If we now sort of highlight this as an option also from the beginning, then we hopefully will have more. And again, of course, if we can have some prizes for these, obviously that also encourages people.
Okay. Rebecca, Dani, your thoughts on it?
Then you can go first. I'm still taking my breath after coffee.
Sorry, Ms. Brenda, I like the ideas of the lightning talks and that we go with that. The only thing that I'm worried about is where we're going to get the prices from.
Worried about what, Dani?
The prices for the best.
We should be the ones worrying, not you. We are giving you this worry as the treasurer. So
yeah, I
that's why I
reckon,
asked the question.
Yeah, I reckon, Anna-Marie and Nazim, we will be including that as a sponsorship option when you contact all the possible partners and so on.
yes.
Definitely.
I also like the idea of the lightning talks, and talking about sponsorship. Nazim, can we also explore on the UKS as well, because they were ready to just help us in terms of that? Maybe we can tap on that. They might sponsor this as well.
Okay. So we agreeing to it being virtual?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it will just make it easier.
Yeah.
In terms of managing time, especially if we get a lot. So maybe this is something that I can include in the newsletter, how the lightning talks work, etc.
I was just about to say, yes, it needs a specific focus. I think like Naomi says, so that we can get the message out early and hopefully then get a lot of interest in this particular type of presentation.
Yeah.
Won't it be possible to make it also sort of a hybrid, so that we have a few that's virtual online and a few for attendees?
I think, as Anna-Marie said, the thing is, if you do that, then you exclude the virtual attendees from seeing those posters.
Okay. Sorry, just refresh my mind. You said that it's going to be pre-recorded. So
yes.
On some other way, it must be streamed or go out to the virtual attendees. So why can't there be one or two live streamings that go out? Is it a different setup, a different mechanism, or how does it work?
If I remember from streaming either last year or the year before, there is a minute or two from moving over from the recordings that they have uploaded to going to a live person speaking. So I was just thinking more in terms of we know for sure that that slot is filled because the recording must be done before. We know people will stick to their time because Charlene will tell us, okay, they took 6 minutes or this one only took 3 minutes. Yeah, I don't know, but we can discuss.
Yeah, I suppose we can think about it, but I think like generally all the talks, except the main plenary invited speakers and the LIASA sessions, are pre-recorded for the, so that it is very well controlled.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how this hybrid situation works. The talks. It's something.
It's maybe something.
A discussion with Charlene and them about.
Sometime soon in a meeting, we need to have Charlene talk us through how it would work, the mechanics of it.
Yes.
So, and how will it work for the people that attend the conference? Is it going to show on a big screen, or how does it work?
I would imagine so, yes. Can't say 100% for sure, but I would imagine it will be projected on a big screen, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's quite important that we get Charlene to have a discussion about how exactly they want to manage the hybrids, how does the in-person attendees experience the conference, and those talks, and how are all those managed for the remote attendees. I would imagine that if anything is live at the venue, it will be streamed so that all virtual attendees can view and listen to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I will ask Charlene if she will be available next week to join us at the meeting.
Yeah, because I think we talk about the hybrid thing, and I know we've had an initial discussion with Charlene, but the mechanics of it, I think, is not necessarily real for all of us. So maybe if she is available next week, we need to start off with that so that she takes us through that and we understand, and then we discuss the rest of whatever needs to come after that.
Absolutely.
So that helps to inform us in terms of the content.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Thanks, Anna-Marie. Going back to...
So before we go back, so Naomi,
sure.
my other question was, so if we have the lightning talks for, what is it, 4 days? I don't know if I did it for the Friday as well. So no, so it's 3 days.
No.
So it would be then 3 days. And if it's 5 minutes each, so that would be what, 6 in a half an hour, is that correct? Math's not my strong suit. So there might be opportunity as well to slot in some sponsors as well. We have tried various things, you will know very well over the years, how we can give better exposure to sponsors. And it might be an opportunity to slot some sponsors in these lightning talk sessions.
Yeah, especially if there's, quite a few sessions, I'm sure that's something that one can consider, because I think that would be quite popular with the sponsors. Yeah.
Because as far as I know, we have not informed the sponsors about this, but it can just be an added extra, a nice surprise if they want to.
Yeah, we would have to also look at the mechanics of it, in terms of how we will select depending on, the numbers of papers we get. I think it would definitely help to sort of fill those slots, and would be a nice sponsorship opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, I heard that somebody fell off. So let me just check.
It was me, and now I'm back.
Oh, okay, right. Welcome back. Okay. Anything else on this proposed layout?
No, I think that's fine for now, Anna-Marie. I think obviously as we go along and we start filling things in, then we can obviously have a much broader and better conversation around it. But I think for now, as the blank canvas, I think it was actually fine.
Yes, so sorry, Naomi, that was the other
Yeah,
thing.
Anne-Marie,
So
either send me the link or the, sorry, Anne-Marie, the link or the copy again, so that I hopefully receive it this time. You know, I can also have a look at it. I'm just looking at, there's obviously then going to be an in-person exhibition. Are there going to be virtual exhibitions as well? Or how? So that's quite important, this whole discussion with Charlene.
yes.
Yeah.
So there will be hybrid. So if you take, for instance, an in-person stand, you will get a virtual exhibition stand for free. But you can also opt to only take a virtual stand, or if you don't want the virtual stand, if you have an in-person stand, then that is okay as well. But if you pay for an in-person stand, you will have the option to have both. So both will be there, yes.
Okay.
Anne-Marie, to you, Nazim, is it possible to, because I guess even myself and Danny didn't receive this draft, so we may not be able to comment on what is there. Will you be able to also share with us, please?
I will do that. I shared it with Naomi first because, you know, there were a few questions that I asked, but, you know, obviously that didn't work, but I will send it to the entire committee.
Thanks.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. Okay. In terms of the sessions, I don't think there's things that we need to talk about in detail now. We have an opening session. We need to talk about the awards, but I don't think now is yet the time to talk about it. I think EXCO needs to wrap its heads around it, which we will do on Thursday. And then we will come back to this particular matter. Anne-Marie, one of the things though that I picked up, and sorry, and I didn't think about it when you had the layout on the screen, is that, and excuse me if I missed it somewhere, somewhere on that thing, there isn't a, oh, okay, no, I lie, there is, it's called a conference dinner.
Yes.
Okay.
So the conference dinner is there.
Okay, and is the idea that that is where awards would happen as well? Or is this something that we need to speak about?
Yeah, I think it's something we need to speak about. And I think we want to move away from a gala dinner to, well, also for logistical reasons, because they need the venue to prepare, but also move the awards away from the dinner. So if you look at the Friday, there is a session just for awards. But again, it's all negotiable. We can see how we want to do it. If we would rather want it at the dinner. I just know that, yes, there's the big hype when Librarian of the Year is awarded, but, you know, it takes away from people's party time. So I think there's pros and cons for both.
Okay, but this is then obviously an ongoing conversation, and we need to have in this meeting, and we need to tie it down sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
But just for your purposes, Naomi, I mean, we have an EXCO meeting on Thursday, and this will be then one of awards is one of the things we need to tie down. And then following that, then we probably will then have a broader discussion at next week's meeting around this particular session and what needs to happen.
Okay, because I'm also thinking again,
Thanks,
to consider the fact that you will have some virtual attendees.
Just going back to the agenda.
That is correct, Naomi. There will be virtual attendees, and we probably will.
Sorry, Naomi.
Sorry, Anne-Marie, finish.
And we probably will not stream the gala dinner.
That was my point now. If you're not going to stream the gala dinner, if there are no formalities there, then, you know, it's probably quite important to have a separate award session where you stream it so that the virtual attendees can see the awards.
Correct. I didn't think of that, so that is a very good reason why it needs to be separate.
Yeah, because there will surely be extra cost if you stream from the conference dinner.
Yeah. Right, Nazim, back to you.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I don't know, it keeps bombing out. Sorry, Anna-Marie, obviously I missed whatever was said in between, so.
So we just said that if we're not going to stream the conference dinner, because that comes at an extra cost and they're not set up for that. So therefore, it is a very good reason why the award session need to be separate.
Okay, all right, no, that's fair enough. Okay, closing session, again, I think it's something that we need to talk about as an ongoing discussion as we start filling up things. But was, Anna-Marie, there wasn't anything specific that you wanted to raise under that, eh?
No, I think it was just put on the agenda that we don't forget that, you know, these are special sessions. I'm sure more will follow, that we just make sure that we have the program within the session, that we just think of that.
Okay. Session chairs. I know I don't have to say too much about it at this meeting, but it is something that we have to give attention to. We tend to leave it until the end, and then we kind of fall about trying to get all of that into place. So if people can start thinking about that, suggest names, etc., so that I think also as Naomi and the programming committee starts tying up the program, that we also have those names available and we don't have to kind of look for people to do things in this regard.
Yeah, I think we have to rethink a little bit perhaps how we do that. One of the things that we did in the past couple of years, or especially the virtual sessions, was to see who actually attends before we then ask them to chair. Because you don't want to have chairs, which we've had in the past, and then they actually don't register, and then you anyway sit with blank spaces.
Yeah.
So I think we have to think a little bit around that and whether we can invite people, and they have to confirm that they will attend, you know, within a certain timeline to avoid this last minute thing. But yeah, I think there's got to be a little bit of thinking. Obviously, so that was the one point. It was to do with the attendance of people or being registered. And the second point is that we usually try to look at an appropriate chair with some knowledge or expertise in the particular area in which the session is. And that we don't know until we've actually started slotting papers in. So it's a little bit of a... That's
a difficult, Okay. But I think maybe the one part of what you're raising, Naomi, maybe we can deal with in the sense that as people register, we maybe need to take note of names, Anna-Marie, and maybe earmark people already as a possible session chair, if they're obviously attending in person. And just, I think, put a marker next to a person's name as the possible chair, because then you can already sound them out, as they have indicated. The registration doesn't, of course, mean that they're going to end up paying and actually attending, but at least it's a positive sign, and I think we should use it for this purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Conference MC. Is there something, Anna-Marie, that we want to raise with Charlene if she joins us in the meeting? Or do we want to have a preliminary conversation around it? Do we actually want an MC? So last year we had one, but it was entirely virtual. This year is a hybrid. So is this something that we want to think about having?
Yeah, I think we probably will only be able to make a decision whether we want one or not once we understand after our discussion how the entire thing works. Once we have discussed with Charlene. Yeah, because, you know, this hybrid thing is new to all of us. So I think let's park that until we've had a discussion with Charlene, that we know the mechanics behind the hybrid.
Yeah, I would agree, Anna-Marie. Nazim, I'm also thinking that, you know, obviously once we understand how this hybrid will work, it will help us a lot, but it might actually be useful because it is hybrid to have an MC who can sort of help, you know, smoothing the flow of the conference. Because I'm assuming that we will also have some speakers who will only be virtual. That will not, I'm talking of perhaps even invited speakers that will be virtual and not in person. Because that of course is another issue around the hybrid. Are we fully talking about it's not just virtual attendees and in-person attendees, it's also speakers. We will have virtual speakers and we will have in-person speakers. So yeah, I think a MC might be able to then bridge also this switching between virtual and in person. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think at this stage it sounds like it, that it would be good to have one. So I would agree for that, but yeah, let's hear from Charlene next week how other associations do it.
Mm.
Check. Okay, Nazim is still here.
Is the chair there?
Yes, so apologies for this gray box. It's just the
Oh,
participants.
sorry, I'm on mute. I'm on mute.
We wondered what happened to you.
Oh my word, I've been talking a mile a minute, yeah.
No.
Okay, the most important bit of what I was trying to say was, I think, yes, we need to have a conversation with Charlene, find out how others do it. But I think in the meantime, also for us to start giving thoughts to who the possible MC could be. Because it's also something that you then need to tie down sooner rather than later.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Invited speakers. And yes, Naomi, it's something I think we have to bear in mind, that we're going to have speakers who are going to be virtual, and they're going to be speakers that are going to be there in person, much as the attendees. And again, that's something that Charlene has to talk us through in terms of how we manage all of that. I did say last week that we need to start making a list of possible people. I did send something through last night, but if everybody can still, I don't know if we want to work through what we have thus far, because we really do need to start doing this and actually start inviting people.
Yeah, we tend to leave that also a bit late.
Yeah.
I think you've got quite a nice list there. I have one name that I picked up somewhere that I will, perhaps I'll just send some information. I haven't listened to the speaker, but I came across when I looked for somebody speaking about perhaps the whole post-truth world. And there's somebody called Dr. Conrad Hughes, who's actually WITS alumnus. And he now lives in Switzerland. He's director of an international school in Geneva. But he speaks about, education for the 21st century. And he talks about information literacy and post-truth politics. He sounds like an interesting person, so perhaps I'll send some details as well.
Sure. All right. I don't think we really want to speak about speaker management now. That comes kind of once we've spoken to Charlene. We've spoken a little bit about the conference dinner, and somewhere I lost sound in between. But I think the idea of that you raised, Anna Marie, that if we're not streaming the gala dinner, then maybe yes, awards shouldn't be part of that, and it's purely a dinner, and it's there to network and have a party and mingle with people, in the true sense of the word, rather than having the awards there.
Yes, so something we might have to keep in mind, Naomi, the little concert that is happening at SCECSAL every time.
Aha,
So,
the country
those
competition.
Exactly.
We can't not have that.
Who of you were at the LIASA conference that was at Birchwood? It was over that long weekend when it was on the, what is it, the 24th, when is that holiday in September?
Oh,
where
yes.
all the branches had their little item.
When they dressed in heritage or something.
Yes, that was
exactly a heritage day.
That's correct. I remember that.
The same is happening at SCECSAL. Every country is doing something from their country.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Every country has to prepare some item, and then there's usually a panel that also then judges it and come up with who's the winner, etc. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's a tradition for SCECSAL. So I would assume that that would then happen at the conference dinner.
That would be the logical place, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people had quite fun at that Birchwood dress up.
They did.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah. So we need to just obviously pin this down, that when this will happen, and make sure it's sort of on that program, and then early enough send out the communication to all the to everybody that they must do some prep. I mean, part of the fun usually used to be that was like on the spot, because people are not necessarily together, so that at the conference the countries would get together and come up with something. But ideally, of course, costumes and so on needs to be taken with.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so it's very much spontaneous type of thing.
So this again will be something that is done in person only?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Okay. concession entertainment, Anna-Marie, I'm assuming that's a conversation we will have with Charlene.
That's right, yes.
Okay. Then in terms of marketing and the website, I think media is something we deal with a little bit later, but we do need the marketing plan with a timeline, which includes social media. And I will speak to Linda about that so that we have it at the next meeting. Conference branding, Anna-Marie.
I think that just came out of last week's meeting after you left. That we just need something that every now and again we can put out on social media, something just general. So what I've done, I've closed that. I've just taken that, and I think I've added something on our scrolling banner on the website as well, and just put the, I don't know, maybe it was just that part, I can't remember now, and just put the dates and so on, so that, you know, also you can download it and put it on your WhatsApp to your broadcast it or whatever you want to do. So because there are quite a number of conferences coming up and we are competing for attendance.
Yeah.
So we just need to be front and foremost in people's minds.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. And that looks quite nice, what you have there at the top of your pages. That it looks nice. So as you say, just you need to have the dates, and then that becomes very visible. People can immediately see, oh, it's new information about this conference.
Yeah.
Yes, not only that is beautiful, but it actually blends very well with our logo as well.
Exactly.
Library tours.
Right, so that is on there because, you know, National Library asked that there is a library tour scheduled to them.
Okay.
Yeah. So if there will be a library tour to the National Library, should we consider doing other library tours? Or will there only be other tours if somebody wants to go to, I don't know what, Gold Reef City or whatever other entertainment is. So obviously it is at an extra cost. It is not included. So if they want to go on a tour, it's for their own pocket. But yeah, do we want to consider, yes, no, something we might have to discuss?
Anna-Marie, did we not discuss this with Charlene quite some time ago? And what we'd said to her was that this would be entirely separate from conference. So people who want to go on, not necessarily a library tour, but on a tour somewhere, a safari or whatever, that would be entirely for their own doing. But what Scatterlings would do is to make available to them possibilities.
Right.
Yeah, in terms of, yeah, sorry, Nazim.
No, so library tours are something different to that again. Because if we're saying library tours, does it automatically become part of something that we've got to do?
Yes.
I'm just going to say, sorry, Nazim, Anna-Marie, that yes, it's two separate things, your library tours and then your other tours. And it usually works very well if you, if they have, like Scatterlings have tours available at a cost and that people can then book those. But that really is just, it's not really part of the conference, but it is a little add-on. The library tours, yes, that would obviously mean some input and some work from members, the committee. But what I did want to say is because this is also SCECSAL, I think it's it's probably a great enhancement to the conference, because we will have hopefully many more visitors from the continent that would like to either go on a normal tour or a library tour.
Yes, I also wanted to add that to say, because this is SCECSAL, we can make it separate, of course, from the conference, but it will be a cherry on top to add, because most of the guests or whatever, the delegates coming to South Africa, they're expecting to also see some other part of it. So as long as it's an extra cost and it can be made available to them, I think that will be great.
Because I'm thinking the library tours would also have to be at an extra cost, because it would imply buses and that sort of thing, not so?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Like we did with IFLA. I don't know if you can recall all the tours that was done for IFLA.
Yeah. The challenge around the library tours now is that it is, so what has gone out in terms of registration is not saying anything about this. So it will come on as a after effect. But Anna-Marie, can we raise it with Charlene? And because she would have to give us costing around this, I'm assuming.
Absolutely, yeah. So
And
what we can do, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So what we can do is not to have too many tours. So National Library already, one academic library, one public library, one special library, and that's it. And then start advertising. Okay, first we need to identify, get the input or get the go-ahead from those institutions, because they also need to probably budget for maybe a lunch or some snacks or something for these people. Yeah, and limit the numbers, no more than one bus full to all these places, to each of these places. And hopefully that would then limit the extra work that would go into this. I'm not sure, but we will definitely discuss with Charlene.
Yeah, obviously, because it does make it a bit more complex. But I do recall that, again, going back to IFLA, we sort of, because the Western Cape committee sort of took care of the library tours. It was given to individuals at the particular library, so they did basically the work. And many of them were prepared to provide catering at their cost. And so that there isn't a whole lot of work for either Scatterlings or ourselves to organize these. It's just overall getting a costing, managing the registration and the costing of it. But the logistics, except for perhaps buses, would be for the libraries.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we two things, Anna-Marie. We need to get a costing from Charlene in terms of the transport angle. But secondly, we need to make a list of the potential libraries other than the National Library, because we then need to start that discussion with those individuals. In terms of getting their buy-in and agreeing to it, etc., before we can even put anything out there.
Yes, yeah.
And it also can't be, it has to be advertised pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's an option, so that because people will be making their travel arrangements, and they would then obviously need to know of that option of staying longer or whatever to be able to participate.
Yeah. So I think it can start as an email conversation, Anna-Marie, just in terms of the actual potential libraries. And once we've agreed, we can then go to those particular libraries, find out whether they are amenable to it, and then we can tie it down, hopefully within the next meeting or two. And in the meantime, Charlene can do the costing from a transport point of view, so that we have that as well to consider.
Yeah. So if I know you said email conversation. So for academic libraries, it's basically just one of two, either Wits or UJ.
Sure.
For public libraries, we are in Ekurhuleni, so we need to contact Karen.
Sure.
And then special libraries, Rebecca, you need to help me. Matthew Koniwe and SABC is quite close to each other, right?
Yes. Oh, by the way, I wanted to also find out, we are focusing in Joburg, not Pretoria, Joburg. We are focusing in one area.
Yes, I think so. We don't want them to travel too far. It is a Friday afternoon traffic and so on. So, yeah. So maybe either, probably SABC would probably be the more interesting one. But I mean, maybe they can combine if we'll see. So I think we have our options. We just need to see which ones bite.
Yeah, to find out if they are ready. Yeah, I think so.
But I will drop an email about this to the committee.
Okay. Thanks, Anna-Marie.
Just a quick point here. I think that you've got to be, I suppose, careful, or we have to be careful, that it doesn't look as if only certain people have been given the opportunity. So you've got to manage the fallout if other libraries say, but why didn't we get the opportunity to participate? So I don't know how you want to manage that.
True. So,
yeah,
okay.
no,
yeah, so go ahead.
I mean, it was if you read my mind.
But
you know how
you know how it is. You know how it is.
But the other easier way to get out of that, firstly, they should be members of LIASA. If they are not, then we are not even considering that.
But okay, so we can have multiple. I mean, we can say, okay, either you go to Wits or to UJ, or I don't know if the afternoon is long enough for them to go to both.
Yeah, and also that like Wits and UJ are close to each other, so it may not be a train smash. They can still cover both. You know, they have to just be short and to the point. So it can still be doable. As you are saying, traffic and other stuff, we may not, know about that.
Okay. We can chat about this on email.
Okay. All right. Sponsorship and exhibition. Any movement on that?
No, not yet.
Okay. In terms of the other, I'm not sure if you've got any further information.
No.
From last week.
From last week, nothing. I think not in terms of sponsorship. I think Charlene is busy with that today.
Okay.
Both exhibitions and sponsorship. However, on exhibitions, now I need to find, let me just find the PowerPoint. Sorry, new share. So what I have asked her to do, can I make this bigger? So initially, she allocated 4 stands for NLSA, which I don't think they will be happy with. I mean, they have 9 provinces and themselves. So I've asked her to change these 13, 14, 15, and 16 to 2x2s, and then there will be extra 1 or 2, and then also across the aisle against that flat wall where the nice banner for the PepsiCo banner was, to include a few there as well. So this corner will then be the National Library corner.
Okay.
So in those 4 can then also be sold to potential other exhibitors. Because currently,
Okay.
I think they accept National Library, there are 9 others that have inquired. So
Okay.
there definitely is interest. And it's not the usual suspects. There's some new ones as well that have inquired. So
good.
we are increasing it slightly, and she agreed she will change the floor plan just to change that and to add a few for us.
Okay. Right. Okay. Then under general, what I will do for the next meeting, just between Anna-Marie and myself, we'll get together an action list with timelines attached to it so that it's easier maybe to work from. So we also know what the kind of milestones are that we've really got to meet. But that I will have for next meeting. I want to come back to load shedding. I want to jump to COVID regulations first. So now that there are no COVID regulations, so to speak, do we need to say anything to people? I'm assuming there are still things that people have to adhere to in terms of if they come into the country. I speak under correction. And that was something that I meant to ask last week, Anna-Marie. So in terms of when people do registration, does it make any mention of it? Especially
No.
coming from outside South Africa.
Yeah. There are nothing on the registration form as far as I know. I have included in the newsletter that will go out probably tomorrow that COVID regulations in South Africa has been scrapped. And I'm linking to a government page where it also has travel information. But I think we need to make a point, we need to put it on our marketing list that every now and again we need to send travel related information to everybody that has registered.
Yeah.
Just that they can stay up to date, especially our colleagues from outside the borders, that they know, come with a mask or come with a test or whatever, or don't come with anything, whatever the case might be at that particular situation.
Yeah, I think that would be important.
Yeah.
And then coming back to load shedding.
Sorry, Mr. President.
Sorry, Donnie.
Jeff. Yeah, as far as I know, that all the COVID regulations has been scrapped. You don't need to show or prove any kind of thing that you have been vaccinated or anything like that when you come from outside the borders. So as far as I know, all of those has been scrapped.
Okay.
Yeah, but some of the other countries might still have some regulations in place with entering South Africa, or I don't know, or exiting their country. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. But I think it's good if Anna-Marie can link it to a government website, because that's in the official line, and it takes it out of our ambit of responsibility in a sense.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
And sorry, just to, on that, I'm assuming then I saw some conversations and so on that organizations, et cetera, can still decide on certain policies in terms of COVID.
Yeah, that is correct.
We should also then make sure, is there anything in place for the particular venue?
Yeah.
Do they require anything?
Yeah.
or, you know, any kind of statements like that. So perhaps,
sure.
I don't know
That's
if,
a good point.
Charlie-
No.
yeah, it might be that the venue has some, you know,
Yeah.
some things in place, and I'm sure Charlene can perhaps also give some input there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So if we can just put that on a list of things to ask Anna Marie.
Absolutely. Made a note.
Okay. And then we come to load shedding.
Oi.
I don't quite know what to say about it. As I indicated earlier, I mean, Eskom's made known that we are on stage 6 as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, except if you live in the city of Cape Town, apparently, and then you're on stage 4. But it's getting, well, it's always been serious, but I think it's getting beyond serious now. And it is something that we've really got to grapple with, moving forward in terms of the conference and what the implications are for us. Both from a delegate point of view, if it's if you, for example, are a virtual attendee, as well as the in-person version. Anna Marie, I'm assuming we now need to start talking to the Radisson about what their plans are, how do they limit exposure to load shedding. And I'm assuming that is then a conversation we need to have with Charlene in terms of how they would then ensure that we're not hit by load shedding or we're not negatively affected by it at the actual venue. But the question then is also, is this now something that we seriously have to, once we know what their plan is or how they cover themselves, that we seriously have to actually communicate to people? I don't know, your thoughts around it.
I would imagine that the Radisson has a generator, but I think we will confirm with Charlene. So yes, we need to communicate. I think the virtual attendee has it better because remember, all the recordings are available afterwards for 3 months. So if you are sitting in your home office and you hit by load shedding for a specific session that you desperately wanted to, then you can go afterwards and go and watch that. So I think it is something that we also need to make known to people. I don't know if all the, Charlene said, and I can't remember what she said, whether all the in-person attendees will also get a link afterwards for any sessions. I don't know. I will have to ask her again about that.
Okay. So I think we just need to sound out on that. Like you say, I mean, my assumption is also that the Radisson has generators, but we just need to make sure, because I think, again, we need to give people then the assurance that regardless of what is happening, if you're intending to attend conference, you know, it will not affect you in a sense, especially if you're there in person. Like you say, with the virtual one, things will be recorded. And again, I think we need to make it known to people, something really specific around it. And maybe it forms a focus in one of the newsletters, just on how we will mitigate and handle load shedding, so that people are also given the reassurance that, you know, you'll not just be left in the lurch should it hit you.
Yeah,
I think it's quite important to spread that message and to make sure that people aren't not registering because they're worried about load shedding. So yeah, it's for the in-person attendance, but also, you know, make sure that from the technical point of view, from scattering side, that is all protected also, you know. That would be, but the message has to go out to assure people, as you said, Nazim, to assure them that they will not, you know, there are things in place.
Yeah.
Well, we are learning every day. This actually happened with this hybrid thing. It happened, Nazim, you'll also recall, or Anne-Marie, when we had the memorial service for Claire Walker. So there was load shedding, but luckily Vets had the generator. It kicked in and everything continued as if there was nothing. So it's very important and indeed to check this stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw Charlie's hand earlier.
Yeah,
Welcome
sorry,
back, Charlie.
Charlie. Welcome back.
Thank you. No, it's fine. I think it has been covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that anybody wants to bring up before we close?
So, yes, Nazim.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
the item load shedding on the now I need to come on the agenda, was it only for covering the conference issue, or what Anne-Marie also shared with us, or that is a
I
separate
don't think
thing?
at this moment. Thanks, Nazim.
I can't hear now anymore. Hello?
So, yeah. Rebecca?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm not sure if you heard me.
No, you kind of, I didn't quite catch what you were saying at the end.
Okay, I was saying in terms of this item on the agenda, load shedding, where we only concentrating on discussing the conference part of it, or does it also include this committee as far as what Anne-Marie has shared with us as well? Or that is a separate matter?
I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to. Anne-Marie?
So I think what Rebecca is asking is how it will affect the committee meetings, and then also what we discussed now for conference.
Go ahead.
So Rebecca, there are still a few people that just need to send me their little schedules for a Tuesday, and then we can just see if they, by some miracle, there is a slot during the day that might be open, that we, if we need to, that we can move the meetings to a different slot.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's unfortunately where we find ourselves. Charlie's lucky in that I saw from his note, you know, he doesn't have load shedding if he's at the university. But
because
I
he's
think
close to the minister, you know.
But I think for the rest of us, I think, Rebecca, you know, if we can share that, and I think for every meeting, we'll have to see where we find ourselves in the week in terms of ESCOM's whims and fancies. And we'll just have to make do on that day in finding a slot that then is suitable to all of us, so that we can still have the meeting. But we will have to deal with it I think on a week-by-week basis. I mean, I don't think anybody foresaw stage 6 at the beginning of this week. Well, the week is only 2 days old. But certainly stage 6 wasn't on the agenda, and who knows, next week it might be stage 8 for all we know.
Yikes,
so I think it's really difficult to say. Yeah.
So Rebecca, currently the time slot that suits most people would be between 4 and 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I'm just teasing you.
No, I can make it. And
Oh
don't
no,
know
I
of
won't
you.
make it.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
have
you
a
see?
meeting of one. A meeting of one.
No, she started it. She has to join me.
Okay.
Okay. No, it's understandable.
Okay. All right. If there is nothing else, then I think that's it for today. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll speak to each other on Thursday again, or via email or WhatsApp.
Yes.
I hope load shedding treats you kindly sometime today. I have it at 8 o'clock. So yeah, my kids are probably not happy. But what can we do?
Family time is comes forcing
Yeah,
us
there
into
we go.
family time. Yeah.
Yeah, this overlaps here. I'm also stuck in here. People are gone in the office.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good
Okay,
evening.
Thanks,
Thanks.
everybody.
Okay,
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.